and she was licking my face and flicking the tears off, and it tickled. So I was laughing. It was a moment that I felt good, and I didn't have food, but I didn't realize that at that moment. But she saved my life. And very shortly after that, I retired from the police department. I moved down to Florida. I'm an insurance agent, and I'm selling all kinds of insurance. I mean, everybody hates insurance. I hated insurance, for God's sakes. And I wasn't happy. I mean, we all hate insurance. You can't even go to an event. If you tell somebody you're an insurance agent, everybody's like, that's nice. Excuse me, I got to go meet my husband or whatever. It's awful. So a year later, I'm sitting on my couch, and again, I have a plate full of oatmeal chocolate chip cookies, and I'm trying to figure out, how am I going to pay my rent next month? I spent all my savings. I have no idea what the hell I'm going to do with my life. Selling insurance wasn't the answer. I didn't enjoy it at all. I hated it. I mean, I just hated it. And I'm in the office, and the manager comes in one day, and he says, hey, does anybody know anything about Medicare? Who wants to go to some training? We're going to be offering Medicare products, to our customers. I was so desperate, Deborah, to get out of there. I raised my hand. I'm like, hell yeah, I'll go to training. Well, 3 months later, I'm helping a 70-year-old woman find a Medicare plan. And she's got diabetes. She's got high blood pressure. She's got high cholesterol. And she weighs over 250 pounds. She probably could have weighed near 300 pounds. She takes my hand, and she just looks at me, and she says, I want to live, Diane. I want to live. And I don't know what it was, Deborah, but inside, instantaneously, I could feel at that moment that I wanted to live. And I looked right at her, and I just said, I want to live too. And at that moment, just uttering those words, it took me back when I'm 7 years old. I'm peeking out of my kitchen door, and I could see my mom being beat on the couch and her calling my name. And I realized that my mom was just so scared, and she was so frantic to get my dad to stop beating her. She was just, instinctively just calling out whatever she could to make it stop. I know then that I'm only 7 years old, that I'm not responsible for my parents' actions. And I realized that I don't even know what being courageous is at 7 years old. I mean, I don't know what that is. My being frozen in place was just my reptilian brain, right? It was just protecting me from danger, fight or flight. That's the instinctiveness in a 7-year-old. It was fight or flight, my reptilian brain. And finally, I know that as a 7-year-old little girl, I should be just that, a 7-year-old little girl. I'm not responsible for stopping my dad from beating my mom. Okay, my dad was responsible for himself, for his own actions. And I realize now that that was not my responsibility to take any part of that. And I know that both my parents loved me, that this was their own issues. And I see the truth, and I'm crying, and it's just streaming down my face. And I realize that I don't have to be courageous 24 hours a day. I don't have to be brave 24 hours a day. And that's what I was doing when I was a police officer, when I was on the ambulance as a medic, and saving people all day long with my Superwoman cape, right? I am useful.
Yeah.
I am deserving of love and all the things that life has to offer. I am deserving of all that. So I decide that I really love educating people and teaching people. And that's when I published my book, The Medicare Survival Guide. And I started my podcast, Medicare Nation. And now I'm helping people nationwide with their Medicare choices and Medicare problems. I'm solving problems. I'm feeling so good because it's a true bond that I'm having, and I'm feeling the real me. And I stopped using food to soothe me because I found what my true calling is in helping people in the right direction. So I sit down at my dining room table, and for 3 months, Deborah, 3 months, I'm writing down what would help me lose weight and keep it off, because nothing ever worked for me. Nothing. Every diet, you name it, I was on it. I literally had to be on at least 50 different diets. going way back to the grapefruit diets, the zone diets, Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig. You just keep naming them, and I was on them because they never worked, because they don't address what's going on inside your head or in anybody else's head. They don't address that.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I need to just eat real food. Everyone knows what's good for them to eat and what's not. If it's in a box, it's not good for you. It's pretty easy, right? That's processed food. It's not good for you. Real food is good for you. So eating meat, vegetables, fruit, and complex carbohydrates like quinoa, brown rice, right? Things like that is very good for you. So that's what I started eating. And by eating real food, which my body finally says, there you go. That's what we've been waiting for your whole life. Just eat real food. None of that crap. Not that crap. So the weight started just falling off by just doing that, Deborah. And then when I had lost, about 20, 25 pounds, I started just moving my body, because we're human beings. We're meant to move.
We are.
That's why we have
Hashtag
legs,
go.
okay?
That's one of my messages for this show, is that, we
there
are.
You go.
And so many of us are so sedentary. That's so true. Now, just to warn you, we're about at 5. We have about 5 minutes left. That the show goes by pretty quick. So
warning. Okay. Warning, Will Robinson. So I lose 70 pounds, and I'm the healthiest I've ever been. My doctor is ecstatic when I come in for my annual exam with the blood work. She just can't believe how awesome my blood work is. And my Weight Loss Nation podcast to help people realize that they can do this, that diets do not work. I mean, diets suck. They don't work at all. And I'm helping people now find their inner voice and their courage to really find what their real mission is, and not to have to use food to soothe them. And I have different resources and to find their inner voice, to put them on the right path, to find what their true calling is, so that they could be free from that bondage of having to use food. Now they can live the life they were meant to be and what they want to do.
Right. Well, that sounds great, because so many of us, you had quite a traumatic childhood experience there with your parents, but many of us, even without having that in our backgrounds, are emotional eaters. It's comfort. It's a comfort to us, or it's just a bad habit. For me, I'm really good all day long, and then for some reason, it must be something that I think my dad and I did when I was growing up. We would stay up late and watch good movies together, but we always had the snacks, right? The chips or the ice cream. And so I always, whenever my husband and I are watching TV at night, it doesn't matter how nice a dinner I've had, I always have that impulse to have something in my mouth. It's just a habit.
Sure is.
Now we're going to run out of time super quick. So let's make sure our listeners know how to work with you. How do they find Weight Loss Nation?
Yeah, you can go to the website, which is theweightlossnation.com. Of course, the podcast is on all the available channels and platforms with iTunes and Stitcher and Podcoin. Google Music, all of the different platforms. And they can send me an email to support at theweightlossnation.com if they're interested in ending emotional eating and freeing themselves to find their true calling in life and live the life that they want to live.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing this story. Really, really something. And would you, with what little time we have left, Diane, why don't you just share with us maybe one or two quick tips, something to get started? Let's say we have a lot of women listening out there right now, and many of us do have some weight to lose, including myself. I've put on quite a bit of weight this past year. Anyway, what can we do to get started? That would be a healthy way to get some weight off in a healthy way. And it would we only have maybe a minute left. What is something you could throw out there for us?
So the easiest thing to start would be to increase your drinking water. So if you could at minimum drink 96 ounces of water a day. And if you don't like plain water, then squeeze some fresh lemon in it. You can certainly, purchase some different healthier flavorings that you could add to it, and just drink that much water. water every day, and it will flush out the toxins, and it will stabilize and cause an equilibrium balance in your body. And you will quickly probably lose 5 to 6 pounds in your first week just by adding water.
Perfect. We'll stop. We need to stop right there. I thank you for being such a terrific guest, and I'll definitely listen to your show and get some more great tips on how to live a healthier life. And I thank you. You've been, what a story. And I wish you much success and a healthy rest of this year. And let's stay in touch, okay?
Absolutely, Deborah.
All
Keep
right,
the
Diane.
courageous movement going.
Yay. All right. All right. And so, ladies, I appreciate Diane, our guest this week, and I appreciate all of you out there supporting and listening to our show. If you want to learn more about me and the show, please visit my website at courageouslygo.com. And you can also email me, Debbie, DEBBIE, at courageouslygo.com. I would love to hear from all of you. Ladies, until next time, remember this. It's our time to shine. Let's make it so and courageously go.